What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another recap from my tournament from this past weekend in Tifton, Georgia, at the South Georgia Winter Chess Classic. Today, we're coming at you with round two. My opponent's name was Jackson, Jaxsen, and he told me beforehand, he's like, my name's Jackson, but it's spelled weird. He was great guy. Also, a lot of fun. This was a very weird game. I was playing black. This is my first game playing black. So far, we played white in the first game. Now we're black in round two. And I was thinking beforehand, I was like, how crazy do I want to get in this tournament? How much? How do I rate my opponents? Because I don't know how they are at chess. I've not really talked to anyone about their rating or anything like that. This is the brother of the kid who I played in round one. And when we sat down, he looked at me and he went, "Don't do me like you did my brother, and we'll be all right." And this. I mean, he was. He came across as like one of the kids who's like in the cool crowd at school or whatever, and but he was really cool. He was really nice. Super friendly guy. And right before we started the first round or our round, he leaned in. He goes, "I'll give you $2 if you let me win." And I thought it was funny, and I responded with, "I'll give you 10." But no, it was fun, and he started with e4, and I got to thinking, and I was like, well, I can play what my coaches prepped me with before. I can play, some fun stuff. I can play the Sicilian, which is something I've been taught, but it's not. You're going for a long game when you play a Sicilian. I can play Sicilian. I could just play e4, see what he wants to do, which he ended up going knight f3. And, maybe I just follow that up with, knight here and see if he goes for like some sort of fried liver attack on this pawn, or if he goes for, a Spanish or Roy Lopez, and, just kind of, I just, feel him out, see if I want to do that. So, I play e5. And, one thing I hate to see is knight c3. I hate to see the Vienna because then I'm like completely dumbfounded on, move two. But, no, he plays knight f3, as I said he did. And, I was like, I thought for a second here. And I'm like, it's over the board. I don't know my opponent. I don't know, his skill level, which, as we see here now, is, 897 up there, next to his name. That's his final rating after the whole tournament. He won his first game. We were both 1-0 at this point, or 1 for 1. But he plays this, and I'm like, I don't know anything about my opponent. I don't know, what to expect. But I did remember that the first time I ever went to the chess club here in nearby town, I did remember that I played a dubious gambit, and it threw my opponent off guard. And my opponent, his name's Mike, is a fairly high rated player. He's very good. He always gives me trouble. But I remember that I played an opening against him as black, and it really threw him off, and I ended up winning. So I was like, why not? Let's have some fun. And I played the Elephant Gambit. Now, the problem here is white has an option. White can take with a knight, white can take with a pawn. Either way, I respond the same way. I respond with knight f6, and then he would take the other way in a perfect world. And then I would take back with queen, and then they play d4 or c4, defending the knight. And the point is the queen has pressure right here for the whole game. If this bishop moves to try to do something, then the queen goes here, attacking this rook, because the knight would be here, and then rook here, and then you're just creating a whole bunch of pressure with your pieces for the whole game, and it becomes a nuisance for white to have to deal with, and they have to castle long, and it's a hassle, and it's what happened when I played Mike. The first time I ever went to a real chess club. The first time I really played a game over the board against a stranger. Um, but my opponent Jackson, he did take, and I played knight f6, which it shows it's an inaccuracy. It wants you to take back, but we're gonna disregard anything this is. Now, as you can see here on the side, this position has been reached in over the board games by people rated 2600, 3000. It's been reached by masters. Masters play this when they want to have some fun. So I play knight f6, and of course I'm expecting him to take back with the pawn here. It's it's like the only move. It's top move. It's best move. It's what everybody plays. But he played knight c3, and I got to thinking, what do I do here? I'm like, I could take this pawn back now, or I could play queen here, attacking the knight first, or I could play just any amount of things. I was thinking like here, bishop here crossed my mind at one point, hitting this, but then he would just take that and give me the pawn back. I don't know. But what I did was I pushed d4. And I was like, well, where's this knight going to go? And I'm like, well, it could go here, but then I'm just going to go here and, kick it back. And it can't defend this pawn. And I figured he'd go here, I would go here, and he would go back. And then I could take if I wanted to pull this pawn to the side or just whatever. But he played knight e2, which you can see the computer doesn't like, calls it an inaccuracy. And I was really confused at this point. And I still had, almost my whole time on the clock. I think I saw 28, 29 of my 30 minutes. But I went ahead and I took this pawn. I know he can't take this because the queen defends it. So he tries to kick my knight out. And he is just dead lost. It was lost from the time he played knight e2, really. Or knight c3, I guess, allowing me to kick his knight back. But he plays this, and there's this YouTuber, Gotham Chess, and he talks about danger levels. And so, when a piece is attacked, always look for checks, captures, attacks, things like that. And I kind of have calculated this next line in my head, but I didn't really think too hard about it. I gave a bishop check because he can't take this; he has to deal with this. And I was thinking, I was like, well, if he takes here, then I just take, and he has to take with his queen. It's like if he goes here, then I get the knight. And if he takes my knight, I take this with check, and then I pick up a rook, or actually, yeah, I pick up the rook, for free. And I play this move, and I'm like, well, he could just play this, and then after takes, then he could just take back. And I was like, well, I can still pick up the pawn, because after knight takes, bishop takes, I then pick up the rook. So this bishop move is the best move, per the computer. But he blocks with the pawn. I take back. And after the game, I saw him going through the game, and he was looking at this move pretty hard. And he told me that, pawn takes back would have been just fine. It wasn't. It loses at the rook. But what he did, and it didn't make sense. It threw me way off guard when he played it. I thought he was going to take my knight. I thought, we were going to, take here, and then, or maybe not even. Maybe if takes, then takes with check, and then he could block with the bishop, or bring a knight here, which is neither really good, but then pick up the queen, make a queen, It's just so winning for black here already, and we're only 7 moves in. And I'm going to spoil it. This game doesn't last much longer. He defends his knight. It shows it as a blunder. It's like the worst move in the position. He told me it was. I think the best move was pawn takes back, but again, there's not much saving this. So I take this with check. and then I forget to hit my clock for a minute. So I burn like 2 minutes after playing this move, forgetting that just given this a check. And as soon as I played it, he went, "Oh, it comes with check." He's like, "I completely missed it. That comes with check." And I was like, much like his brother, I felt bad for being so winning in this position. Um, but and he sat here and he thought for like 5 minutes here, and I thought he was gonna play like bishop here, give up the queen or something. And I was like, well, he could always sacrifice this knight and make room for his king, which is exactly what he does. And didn't want to spoil that. But he sacrifices the knight, Bond clouds the king. We're at move 10. Where like my 10th move is making a second queen, and his king is on e2. The knight has nowhere to go. I mean, it does, but it's not going to do anything. There's no way to attack my king. This bishop is stuck here. The queen has nowhere to go. Like, it can go here, but after pawn here, where are you really going? Because maybe you go here, but this is still defended, and I mean, it's just completely lost. The brave little king. I don't understand King D3, but I think I even made the comment to him in the middle of the game. I said that's a brave king, and proceeded to take D4 with check, which could pick up the knight. But he walks to the side, and I was like, is there a way to just pick this queen up here and just win from there? And I was like, no, there's got to be something better. And I was like, oh, I'll take this pawn with check. And if you can see it, there's only one legal move in this position, and it's to block with the bishop and take with checkmate. And he looked at me, he goes, "That's checkmate, huh?" I said, "Yeah, it is." And he's like, man, he was so mad at himself, and I felt, like I said, I feel bad for beating him so bad, but it was just a slaughter. And even, when he played here, I just had this to pick up the queen, but I mean, it was never good for him. Go here, he could block like this, but it was a slaughter. It was a slaughter, and I felt bad for it. And I mean, what could you do, right? Like, I gave him nothing. I played a gambit. I played a gambit, which is very dubious to do in a longer time control to begin with, let alone over the board against someone who you don't know how strong they are. And I mean, just total annihilation over the board. Hats off to Jackson, though. He did go on to win, I think, one more game. And he finished 11th or 12th in the tournament out of the 17. But 897, he made progress. You start at 400. So props to Jackson. Love playing him. Hope he does well in the future. Maybe we'll see him again one day. But all in all, great kid. Fun game. He was mad at himself, but I get it. I just found all the right moves. In fact, if we go to the game review here, the chess.com computer thinks that I played like an 1850. If you remember the first game, it thought I played like a 900. Or maybe it was 1100. It was much lower, but this game I played like an 1850 and he played like a 1350, only because of of the rating differential. 94% accuracy for me, 78 for him. I mean, one real blunder, but there was nothing that could have happened any differently here. It was from the time he played knight c3, it was curtains. And I thought, because I'll show you this line here, and then block with the bishop. If I take, he has to take back with. Oh, I can't even take back with the king. He has to take back here, and it's made anyway. But that was round 2. That's just how short that was. It was 13 moves. It was 13 moves to checkmate. in the second round, both of us being undefeated. Just annihilation. And so let me show you how the Elephant Gambit is normally played. Normally it's here, knight here, here. Then after the queen takes, sometimes you'll see like knight here. Oh no, you won't. You'll see this, and then knight here, and sometimes you get like knight takes, and then after the pawn takes back, then you'll get knight here. Oh, because the pawn doesn't take. The queen takes. Then you get knight here, threatening to pin the queen, but you actually play bishop here, pinning the knight back the other way. That way there is no, pin. They'll do this, take, and then you just take. And after bishop here, you can win this pawn. But in a perfect world for white, you would get a position similar to this. And this is like super winning for white, especially if black plays something like this, which is what I would do. Sacrificing the rook over here, because the knight's never getting out. And then all I have to do is develop this knight and go harass this queen. The argument is black has way more development. And you're ready to castle. Castle queenside, and just really get after this queen. Of course, there's always going to be some way for white to try to get to it. But knight here, and you've got all this out, and white only has 2 pieces. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the video, the short checkmate, all the fun I had in round 2, and we'll see you for round 3. Thanks for watching.